Hey, everybody. It is Eric J. Olson, and I'm live in front of you once again for a interview for the journey to $100 million. This is our podcast. It's a daily podcast. I'm your host, along with Kevin Daisy, who's the co-founder of Array Digital. And every day we come on to the podcasting platforms and we talk about how we're building our digital marketing agency to be a $100 million per year powerhouse by the year 2030. We have a long ways to go. We have a lot to learn, but we like to not only figure out what we're doing that works or doesn't work, but then also to talk to other entrepreneurs and figure out what they're doing that works or doesn't work. So today I have a special guest on. Felix, how's it going?
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Great. So, all right, I'm going to read your bio, let everyone get to know a little bit about you. So, Felix LaHaye, am I saying it correctly? LaHaye?
Yes.
All right. Is the founder and CEO of United Esports, a media and marketing firm strategically positioned to help organizations and brands leverage the power of esports and its audiences. Learn more about Felix, his business, about him being a lifelong fan of video games, his expertise, and more on this episode of Journey to $100 Million. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Nice to be here with you.
Hey, man, I appreciate your time. So anyone who is waiting for this podcast to go live on social media on time, we're about 20 minutes late, and I think it was my fault with my computer. Felix had to reboot, then I had to reboot, and after I rebooted, everything was fine. So I'm going to take the blame for that. Sorry about that, Felix.
No problem, mate. We're here now.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your journey and how you got to where you're at and what you're doing now.
Cool. So where to start? I mean, just from the beginning, I'm born and raised in Montreal. I've been in LA for quite some time now, over 10 years, that's for sure. So home is here. The story is I created a company that was the first Instagram marketing company. It became the largest influencer marketing company of its time. Of course, it's it did very well. We were really happy with it. A few years ago, I decided to focus on esports and gaming because for two things is that, first of all, I generally believe it is the most important cultural revolution of our time. I like to say gaming is the new rock and roll. It transcends its pure form to really be a cultural and really a cultural powerhouse. All the youths are involved. Gen Z is always around gaming culture. We can talk about it in more depth, what it means to be in gaming. And two, of course, because I like it. I think as a millennial and older millennial, gaming has always been part of my life and as a form of entertainment and expression. But truly what we've built now is a three-pronged organization in the space. We have the leading esports marketing company. A position of market leadership in North America, at least, handling the presence of some of the world's best brands in esports and gaming. And we have two other business units. One of it is esports and gaming investments. I'm very proud to be an investor in this beautiful team, Talon, which is a great multi-esports organization, but mostly known or very well in North America for our League of Legends teams and their performance, and of course involved in the largest chain of esports bars in the world, with quite a few bars, and here expanding in the US in 2021.
All right, so you seem to be on the cutting edge of a couple of big things, like early when these things started to evolve. Instagram influencers, certainly that's been a big thing. That's still a big thing. Esports, yeah. I mean, I'm not a gamer, but I hear things, of course. I follow the trends, and certainly I see, at least pre-pandemic, where big arenas are sold out with these esports tournaments and whatnot. I mean, there's something definitely happening there, and it seems like you're able to identify these trends and position yourself within these trends early on. I mean, why is it that you think you've been able to identify these kinds of trends maybe where others haven't?
I don't know. I mean, frankly, luck plays a part. At the end of the day, repetition is important. If you do a lot of things, you look at a lot of different elements. I mean, I really do think that there's an overstatement by a lot of successful entrepreneurs that, oh, I did it all myself, etc. I think it tends to be mainly, self-patting on the back. There's always a big luck element. There's always and of course the team who you surround yourself with. But frankly, I would say when we got started, it was mainly that. Now it's like buying a house. If you know what you're looking for, and you're looking for long enough, when the exact thing that you want shows up, you know when to pull the trigger. And that's kind of what it's been for me in esports and gaming. The important thing to note, just to your point, is gaming is larger than Hollywood and music combined. People see it as an up and coming thing, but it is frankly already by far, far, far the largest form of entertainment. It's just that it targets younger demographics, and as a result, a lot of the decision makers see it as, oh, it's an up and coming thing, but it's already passed by quite a bit, Hollywood. So it is extremely interesting. Esports is the competitive side of gaming, of course, and my belief is that in a few years, North America will be the only place where esports is only equally as big as traditional sports. In every other market, it's going to be significantly bigger. I, like many others, believe the competition is more exciting in esports than many traditional sports. I'm born and raised in Montreal, as I said, so I'm a big Canadiens fan who hopefully will win tonight. But, I have as much fun watching Talon play League than I do watching the Habs play hockey. And I think that's what most esports fans feel too.
I did not realize that esports in the United States had already surpassed, and I guess you're talking about like
it's
revenue.
Just gaming. Esports is just a small part of gaming.
Okay, so gaming, and are you saying okay, so let me make sure I get this right. Esports or gaming, one of the two has surpassed Hollywood as far as like movies?
Gaming.
Esports
is only 1% of gaming. Gaming overall, the overall gaming industry has surpassed Hollywood. There's different estimates, but they surf between, I can't remember the numbers on gaming, but esports is about $1.5 billion as an industry, a bit less depending on who you ask. And gaming is 100 to 150 times that.
Oh, wow. All right. So when you say esports, so I wasn't aware of this distinction until just now. So esports is like the organized the team or like leagues?
Exactly. Most of what you see, esport generally refers to as competitive gaming or organized gaming. There is a bit of a fine line, in what is a competitive esport. When I go and play ice hockey with my friends, we know we're not the NHL. Yeah. But similarly, in esports, there's pros, there's semi-pros, and so on. So there's varying definitions, but generally speaking, esports is competitive gaming and the media that revolves around it. Everything else that revolves around video gaming is just the broader gaming industry. The publishing of games, the publishing of content on YouTube around those games and so on, that's just the gaming industry.
I would imagine that influencers are a big deal as well in esports. And I say that because when my daughter was younger, she was into Minecraft. She would just watch these people play Minecraft on YouTube for hours.
And yeah, I mean, you're right. It's in my opinion, talking about marketing, we do a lot with the marketing side of our company. We do a lot on Twitch and other live streaming platforms. Frankly, you can't beat it. I mean, the engagement now on Instagram is 0.5 to 1.5% most of the time. In Twitch, it's like 25-something%. So, I mean, it's
wow.
Sometimes a bit less, but let's say 10 to 35%. And it's crazy, man. It's just a truly exceptional platform. People really are there. It's not only Twitch, it's the idea of live streaming like we are now. I mean, people are watching and they're really engaging with what's going on. I mean, you see, I once heard someone say that watching a streamer play the game is like going to a Laker game, watching LeBron play and having a conversation with him at the same time. So that's kind of our industry and why it works so well.
That's super interesting. Yeah, it's honestly, it's a world that I'm not familiar with, but like I said, I kind of pay attention to trends as well, and I see that it's getting really, really big. Well, or actually, I guess as you said before, it's already big. It's not up and coming. Yeah, exactly. I'm just not super familiar with it myself, so this has been already like enlightening. I appreciate it.
Sure,
how did you get into this line of business? Now, I know you had like, the personal affinity to gaming, but how did you translate that into an esports business?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of that's a good question. I mean, frankly, it wasn't my first company. It was probably my third or fourth company, and I know how to start a company, and I just said we should make one in this particular field, and that's just what we did. I was very lucky to be in a position to be able to, get it started very quickly. There was a very strong, we didn't intend at first to focus as heavily on the brand side, but fortunately, thanks to our reputation and the marketing space, we are able to onboard exceptional brand clients, just through word of mouth. And frankly, the product is great. I mean, what I was saying a minute ago, when you just say the engagement is 20 times better, literally 20 times better, people are saying, sure, let's try it out. It is not, it is not yet a line item in the majority of marketing agencies' budgets, but it is part of the general digital spend, and it is really exploding faster than we saw influencer marketing explode. There was a lot of reluctance around influencer marketing in the beginning. I've heard the phrase that I don't believe in social media many times, and not I don't believe in influencers. I don't believe in social media, like it was a fad that would go away. Oh, wow. Many times. When you go in a room and you say gaming's bigger than Hollywood, people say, okay, cool, I want to be involved. There's no doubt about it.
What do you think it would take to get gaming to be more mainstream, like Hollywood is?
Well, nothing really. Just people getting older. The people who are under 30 today, becoming 50, will make. They were not. I know that for a fact that when I'm 75 years old and think I will still be playing video games. I generally believe there will be a market tailored to old game. Actually, I don't need to quote old. I will be old to old gamers back then, when the market has evolved so far that our familiarity with games is going to be different than what's being made. It's not going anywhere. I mean, people who were watching films in 1965 and there's today, my parents' generations, they're still watching film today. Yeah. I was playing video games in 1995. I'm still going to be playing them in 2055.
What? So with things like technology changing so quickly, have you seen that influence gaming or esports in particular? Things like, some of the big things like virtual reality, blockchain, are they creeping into gaming and esports, or are they already there? Or like, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Technologically speaking. So
VR, absolutely, and blockchain also, in completely different fashions. So to answer the VR point, at the end of the day, yes, now you can create amazing VR games. There's no, and I'm going to receive a million comments for what I'm about to say, because I'm sure I'm going to forget 18 things. But there's not that many or no notable AAA titles that are dedicated to VR. There's a few that are VR enhanced, but frankly, the what is slowing down the growth of VR is the market penetration of hardware. A lot of people that own an Xbox don't own an Oculus Rift on top of it, or any other. I'm not shilling Oculus Rift, or any other VR headset or so on. So as such, and they're just for the headset, so which is an enhancement of hardware you already have, it's another $500-$600. So the market penetration, I don't know the numbers, but is limited, and the experience is pretty intense. So some people are into it, some people are less into it. I expect that will grow, and it will be a genre of gaming, like, that there will be a lot of gamers that are exclusively into VR, and some that will be more into traditional gaming with screens. But that's a great diversification there. In the same way that today the main the main ways people game is PC gaming, console gaming, and mobile gaming. To go quickly, there's the exception of Switch, which is kind of a portable console, but still console gaming. Mm-hmm. And then VR plugs into these things, but in my opinion, the way you play, your physical interaction with the hardware being so different, I would most definitely say it's another version. It's just not as popular yet. The technology is excellent, though. It's really far from where we've gone ways from where it got started 10 years ago. Blockchain is different because there are things that are being built on blockchain that are extremely interesting and important to the ecosystem, like the internet computer and things of the sort. There's a big reluctance from major publishers to leverage blockchain. And the reason that I believe it is because it is against the privacy laws in many countries, because the blockchain, everything is written in permanent virtual ink. And a lot of, for example, Korea has really, which is one of the top markets for gaming, has really strong laws, privacy laws that and frankly, I'm not a blockchain expert. What I know is that there's a lot of new entrants that are focusing and will succeed in doing blockchain gaming, but there is enormous pushback from the major publishers. The major publishers are the guys that publish games that make over $1 billion every time they make one, basically.
$1 billion per game.
There's games that have made much. I'll tell you a funny thing, and it's an old stat. Again, when GTA 5 came out, I think in 2013 or 14, and they've made that one game made more money than the entire world music industry with one title. There was hundreds of other titles on top of that one.
Wow.
So
you're in the right
$1 billion game for a major publisher is a moderate success.
Now, all right. So your core, and I think the first business that you started up in the esports industry was the marketing agency. Is that correct?
Yeah, you are right. It was not our intent, but it's what it became quickly.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So what was the intent, and then why did it change?
I mean, we were just, let me rephrase. To us, we thought that we would. Let me rephrase. You're right. It was our intent, but it was, we started much more as like, we'll do this, and this, and the marketing went like this. So okay, fine. So yes, it was our intent to do marketing in esports and gaming. It's not. We weren't trying to say we're going to do marketing exactly like this. No, we was like, let's find a new way to reach those audiences with new types of content. We really didn't want to. We're trying to emulate what people were doing somewhere else and porting over. So let's find a new way to do this. And it went really well, very fortunately. So it allowed us to grow quickly and continue. But we're very proud of our work on the bar side. And, I'm really happy with our work in competitive esports, and of course our partnership and association with our many brands. I was talking about talent 5 seconds ago because we just had an amazing result in the competitive scene, but we're investing in other teams and projects that we love equally.
It's interesting that you said that you started off wanting to do a whole bunch of different things, and marketing was one of them, and that just took off. And so you jumped on that, which is interesting because, a lot of times it seems to me like entrepreneurs, they don't want to pivot either when they see something clear, like the marketing taking off, or just the opposite, where, something that they want to do is going down. They stick with the plan and they don't pivot. So, I think it's easier when you see something working that you want to pivot towards that. But a lot of times I think entrepreneurs have the opposite problem. They see things that aren't working, but they want to stick with those things. So in your case, I'm sure there were other things that you wanted, you said you started off doing a bunch of different things. Was it difficult to kind of give those other things up? Like, was that kind of like your passion, some of those things that you had to give up to
No,
pursue the
we
marketing?
still, I mean, we're very fortunate. We still do them. We just did it at a, for example, the bar side, we put on pause for a second and then, restarted after. So, I mean, at the end of the day, few are the businesses that you kind of sometimes have to make a decision on. There's always a balance. It's not one or the other, but you need to strike a balance between this is what I want to do because it's really cool, and this is what I want to do because I want to make the most money possible. There's different types of entrepreneurs. I try to stick somewhere in the middle. I tend to stick more to the cool than the most profitable at times. But it's really what you value overall. I don't necessarily believe in the adage that if you do something that is cool for you, it will succeed. I think that usually it's the things that are not cool that succeed more. The picks and shovels businesses are usually more successful than the painting businesses. I mean, I'm just making painting, but the hard stuff can lead to bigger success than the fun stuff because everyone wants to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, totally agree. Especially like in marketing and advertising, you're in that industry, I'm in the industry. It always seems like agencies want to do the cool, new, creative, and there's a lot of competition for that. Sometimes just doing kind of the mundane, just the normal kind of marketing that's required to get things, continuing to move forward actually pays better. So it's like this decision point that people have to make. Do you go after the cool, like you said, or do you go after the mundane? And yeah, it seems like for us and for you, it's usually a mix of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of her. I know what we do is very cool. So I think, frankly, I believe we have the best creative team in the business. And I'm very, very proud of their work. So yeah, I mean, I'm not only talking about this in the marketing side. I think that no offense to our friends in fintech, I think it's pretty hard to do less cool than fintech in many fronts. But it's probably the best business you can be in, right? So it is cool because it works. It depends what your opinion of cool is. And I'm just making myself a lot of enemies here, but yeah, it's what it is. We're in a creative industry, and we're happy to be creatives. We're very lucky to make to have found a lot of success as creatives and execution. But for a new entrepreneur, and obviously not you, Eric, who's experienced, etc. But when I speak at universities, I tell them, what's the number one thing you want to do? Do you want to say, I want to do something that's for the good of society? Do you want to do something that you think it's awesome? Or do you want to do something that makes money? And a lot of these things, it's not one or the other, but it's like picking a character in a game. There's sliders, right? It's hard to maximize. And of course, you will find someone that this, but usually it starts out as one and becomes the other. That's what I've seen in my experience. And I'm not talking about myself, or I'm just talking about business in general.
For me, it seems like you certainly have to slide the money over pretty far to the right, because if you're not making money, that means that you're putting a lot of time and energy into surviving, which means you really can't put a lot of time and energy and money into whatever your pet project or passion is. So that's an interesting concept that you're talking about, like balancing these things, making money, taking care of your family if you have one, or yourself, and then taking care of others, the environment, stuff like that. But you got to take care of yourself first. You got to make sure if you're an entrepreneur, you have to make sure you're in a business that is making money, so you have the wherewithal to feed the other passions.
100%. I'm not trying to say that the businesses shouldn't make money, but I'm saying when you build a business within, and I should take a step back, within a business ecosystem, there's pure money businesses that are literally, what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying go ahead and don't make money. I'm saying you should go and make money, but sometimes it's a great goal. But within a business that functions it's not the same kind of business that, and generally speaking, the pure money business too have also the higher risk, highest reward. They're really built on, there are a lot of tech businesses and so on. I'm not a tech guy. I've always been in creative industries before being in marketing, and now in media and investment. I was in music, right? I played music for a living at a concert production. Little thing. It was a small thing I did when I was in college, but that's where I came from. So usually people tend to gravitate towards what fits them best. And and you have different great levels of success in every type of business.
Very cool. If someone's watching and they want to get into esports somehow, what do you think is the opportunity area there right now?
It's an interesting thing sometimes to ask oneself that knows a business very well, because there's many people who are much better than me, but we tend to see what's going to happen 1 or 2 steps ahead. And we find, at least for me, I find myself to say, wow, this is so done. Of course, blah, blah, blah is already done because we've seen it for 3 years. And then someone shows up and does blah, blah, blah. And then it's a resounding success. What do you mean? That's 3 years old. So it's an interesting thing sometimes when you have, a lot of expertise into a field. It's hard to dissociate what you think everyone knows and what people actually know. And I see it. I've seen it a lot in influencer marketing. We see it a lot in esports and media, etc. So, the one general rule of thumb I would give is do something that adds value. If you want to create a competitive organization, go for it, but make a damn good one. Just saying, hey, we're going to make an esports team because we hear those are worth a lot of money now. Great. Talent is 3 years old, but it's kick ass. So if you're going to create an org, create one that kicks ass. If you're going to create media that's exciting and new. We've seen in the last 6 or 9 months, it's really, very biased point of view. Creating copycat businesses in esports right now is not the smartest move, simply because the business is too small at this point to have 1 million of each thing. So it's really, hey, what's the next value you can bring and do? And that's it. So I don't have one particular thing, but I will say an interesting thing. People are looking for jobs in esports. The number one thing that organizations like ours will look for is pre-existing qualification, usually outside of esports. Being 25 and loving League of Legends is not, in my opinion, a qualifying skill set. I love League of Legends just enough by myself. Everyone here loves League, Overwatch, Call of Duty, whatever it is. It's real about, hey, I'm a great lawyer and I love League of Legends. Great, that's someone I need. So your skill set at this point, there's so many, gaming is so big. Finding people that love gaming and esports is very easy. It's finding people who have really strong skills that share our passion. And I'm very proud to say that everyone in our team is incredibly skilled and extremely passionate about esports and gaming. I think that what makes the quality of our media. I'm not involved in the awards that we won, but the creative team just won a couple and they really deserve it.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Felix. It's been really interesting, enlightening for sure. And appreciate your time. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, buddy. All right.
Cheers.